The rain fell in sheets across the cemetery, turning the earth to mud beneath Adrian Blackwell's leather shoes. He stood alone before the twin headstones, his black umbrella forgotten at his side, letting the water soak through his tailored overcoat. 37 years old, founder of Blackwell Technologies, net worth hovering somewhere around $4 billion, and he could not feel anything. That was the cruelest part. Standing before the graves of his wife and daughter, 5 years to the day since the accident, and he felt nothing but the cold seeping into his bones. He had stopped coming here 2 years ago. The grief counselor said that was normal, that everyone processed loss differently. But Adrian knew the truth. He stopped coming because standing here reminded him that he was supposed to feel something, and the emptiness was worse than the pain had ever been. The accident had been quick. A drunk driver running a red light. Emily and 6-year-old Rosie had been on their way to buy him a birthday present. He learned later it was going to be a watch. Rosie had picked it out herself. She wanted to give Daddy something so he would always know when it was time to come home. He never got the watch. He got a phone call instead. Adrian wiped the rain from his face, though more immediately replaced it. His phone had been buzzing in his pocket for the past hour. Board meeting. Investor call. Contract negotiations. The machinery of his empire churning forward, requiring his attention, demanding his presence. He had built Blackwell Technologies from nothing, created software that now powered half the hospitals in the country, employed 12,000 people. And none of it meant anything. He knelt in the mud, not caring about his suit, and placed his hand on the smaller headstone. Rosemary Claire Blackwell, beloved daughter, 6 years of sunshine. I am sorry I stopped coming, he whispered. I am sorry I forgot how to feel. His phone buzzed again. He pulled it out and stared at the screen. 17 missed calls, 43 unread emails, a text from his assistant that read simply, "They are threatening to walk if you do not show." Let them walk, he said to no one. He stayed until the groundskeeper came to tell him the cemetery was closing. Adrian nodded, left a small bouquet of roses on each grave, and walked back to his waiting car. His driver, a man named Thomas who had been with him for 15 years, said nothing about the mud or the soaked clothing. He simply drove Adrian back to the penthouse. The apartment took up the entire 47th floor of a building Adrian owned. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, designer furniture filled rooms he never used, a kitchen that could serve 20 sat empty. He had staff who came during the day, but he sent them home by 5. He preferred the silence, or he thought he did. Adrian changed into dry clothes and poured himself a whiskey. He sat by the window, watching the city lights blur through the rain, and tried to remember the last time he had felt alive. Really alive. Not the hollow satisfaction of closing a deal or seeing his stock price rise. Something real he could not remember. His phone buzzed one more time. A text from his brother David, the only family he had left. Checking in. Knew today would be hard. Call if you need anything. Adrian typed back a quick response. I am fine. Then he deleted it because even he could not stomach that lie. He typed instead, surviving, talk tomorrow. He turned off his phone and finished his drink alone. The next morning, Adrian forced himself through the motions. Shower, suit, car, office. His headquarters occupied a converted warehouse in the Arts District, all exposed brick and open floor plans. His employees called it the Hive. He had designed it to feel creative and collaborative. These days, he kept to his corner office with the door closed. His assistant Margaret met him at the elevator. She was 62, had been with him since the beginning, and was the only person who could look at him with open disappointment without facing consequences. You missed the board meeting, she said, falling into step beside him. I am aware. They are not happy. They never are. Adrian. Margaret stopped walking, which meant she expected him to stop too. He did, turning to face her. This is not sustainable. You have been running on empty for years. Something has to change. He wanted to tell her she was right. He wanted to say that he knew he was drowning, that the company was becoming a prison, that he woke up every morning and had to convince himself to get out of bed. Instead, he said, schedule a meeting with the board for tomorrow. I will smooth things over. Margaret studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded and handed him a stack of mail. personal correspondence. I screened out the usual requests and investment pitches. These are the ones that made it through. Adrian took the stack without looking at it. Thank you. He spent the morning on calls, soothing worried investors, reassuring partners, projecting confidence he did not feel. By noon, his head was pounding and his voice was hoarse. He sent Margaret out for coffee and sat alone in his office, staring at the stack of mail she had given him. Most of it was predictable. Invitations to galas, charity requests. A handwritten note from a college friend he had not seen in a decade. Then his hand closed around a different envelope. It was small and slightly crumpled. The paper was cheap, the kind you might buy at a dollar store. His name and office address were written in careful, uneven letters, child's handwriting, no return address. Adrian turned it over. On the back, someone had drawn a small sun in yellow crayon. He opened it carefully. Inside was a single sheet of lined paper, the kind torn from a school notebook. The letter was written in pencil, the words slanting slightly downward, as if the writer had been lying in bed. Dear Mr. Blackwell, the letter began, my name is Lily and I am 8 years old. My teacher says you make computers that help doctors. I am in the hospital because my heart does not work right. The doctors say I might not get better, but I am not supposed to know that. I heard them talking to my mom when they thought I was sleeping. I am writing to you because I saw you on TV. You looked really sad. I know what sad looks like because my dad died last year and my mom looks sad all the time now, even when she is smiling. My mom works really hard, but she is scared about the hospital bills. She does not know I am writing this. I am not asking for money. My grandma says that is rude. I am asking if you could visit me. I know that sounds weird because you do not know me, but I had a dream about you. In the dream, you were sitting by my bed and reading me stories. When I woke up, I felt like everything would be okay. I am in room 417 at St. Francis Hospital. If you come, I will share my jello with you. The red kind is the best. I hope you are not as sad as you looked on TV. Everyone deserves to be happy. Love, Lily. P.S. I drew you a picture of the sun because my mom says sunshine makes everything better. Adrian read the letter 3 times. His hands were shaking. He thought about his daughter Rosie, who would have been 11 now, who used to draw him pictures and leave them on his pillow, who believed with absolute certainty that her drawings could fix anything. He thought about a little girl in a hospital bed, watching television and seeing something in his face that he thought he had hidden from the world. He thought about the emptiness that had lived inside his chest for 5 years. And for the first time in longer than he could remember, Adrian Blackwell felt something crack open. He called Margaret back into his office. Cancel everything, he said, for the rest of the day. Margaret blinked. Everything, everything. He was already standing, reaching for his coat. And find out everything you can about a patient named Lily in room 417 at St. Francis Hospital. Adrian, what is going on? He paused at the door, the letter clutched in his hand. I do not know yet, but I think I need to find out. St. Francis Hospital was a sprawling complex on the east side of the city. Adrian had donated to it multiple times. His software ran in their diagnostic systems, but he had never actually set foot inside until today. He stood in the lobby for a long moment, watching nurses and doctors hurry past, families clustered in waiting areas, a volunteer pushing an elderly man in a wheelchair. The air smelled like antiseptic and coffee. Somewhere a baby was crying. Adrian approached the information desk. He had not thought about what he would say. He was a man who prepared for every meeting, who never walked into a room without knowing exactly what outcome he wanted. But this was different. Can I help you? The woman behind the desk was young, with tired eyes and a kind smile. I am looking for a patient. A little girl named Lily. She is 8 years old. I believe she is in room 417. The woman's expression shifted slightly. Are you family? Number I. Adrian hesitated. She wrote me a letter asking me to visit. The woman studied him for a moment. Something flickered across her face. Recognition, maybe. Then she picked up a phone and spoke quietly into it. After a moment, she hung up and turned back to him. Someone will be down to escort you. Please wait over there. Adrian sat in one of the uncomfortable lobby chairs and tried to understand what he was doing. He was a CEO. He had meetings to attend, decisions to make, a company depending on him, and instead he was sitting in a hospital waiting room because an 8-year-old girl had written him a letter. Rosie would have told him to go. He was certain of that. His daughter had inherited his wife's fierce compassion, her instinct to help anyone who needed it. She would have grabbed his hand and dragged him to room 417 herself. "Mr. Blackwell," he looked up. A woman stood before him. She was in her early 30s with dark skin and hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore scrubs covered in small cartoon animals. Her eyes were red-rimmed, like she had been crying recently. "I am Dr. Patterson." She did not offer her hand. "I understand you are here to see Lily." "Yes, she wrote me a letter." Dr. Patterson nodded slowly. "I know. She told me she was going to. I did not think she would actually send it. And I certainly did not think." She paused. "May I ask why you came?" Adrian considered the question. He could have given her a practiced answer about charity and giving back. But something about this woman's exhausted, honest face made him want to tell the truth. "Because I have not felt anything real in 5 years," he said quietly, "and her letter made me feel something." Dr. Patterson studied him for a long moment. Then she said, "Come with me. There is someone you need to meet before you see Lily." She led him through a maze of corridors, past rooms filled with beeping machines and hushed conversations. Finally, she stopped before a door marked Family Consultation Room. "Lily's mother is in here," Dr. Patterson said. "Her name is Imani. She does not know about the letter, she does not know you are coming, and I should warn you, she is extremely protective of her daughter. Lily is all she has left, I understand." "No." Dr. Patterson's voice was gentle but firm. "You do not yet, but you will." She opened the door. The room was small, with a couch, 2 chairs, and a window overlooking a courtyard. A woman sat on the couch, her head in her hands. She looked up when the door opened. Imani Thomas was beautiful in the way that exhaustion could not hide. High cheekbones, full lips, eyes the color of dark honey. She wore jeans and a sweater that had seen better days. Her hands were calloused, working hands. "Dr. Patterson," she said, her voice rough. "Is Lily okay? Did something happen?" "Lily is fine, she is resting, but there is someone here to see her." Dr. Patterson gestured to Adrian. "This is Adrian Blackwell." Imani's expression shifted from worried to confused to suspicious in the span of a heartbeat. She rose from the couch. "Blackwell, as in Blackwell Technologies?" "Yes, what are you doing here?" Adrian reached into his pocket and pulled out the letter. "Lily wrote to me, she asked me to come." Imani took the letter. As she read, Adrian watched her face cycle through emotions. Surprise, anger, grief, and finally something like fear. "She had no right," Imani whispered. "She should not have done this. She did not do anything wrong. She told a stranger about our private business, about her father, about—" Imani's voice cracked. She stopped, pressed her hand to her mouth, collected herself. "Why did you come? What do you want from us?" Adrian thought about lying, about saying he was just being charitable, that this was nothing more than a PR opportunity. But the words would not come. 5 years ago, he said instead, "I lost my wife and daughter in a car accident. My daughter was 6. Her name was Rosie. She used to draw pictures like the one on that envelope. Suns and flowers and stick figure families. She believed her drawings could fix anything." Imani said nothing, but something in her eyes shifted. "Your daughter wrote me a letter," Adrian continued. "She said she saw me on television and I looked sad. She said she wanted to share her jello with me because she thought it might help. And I do not know why I came. I cannot explain it. But I have been sleepwalking through my life for years, and that letter is the first thing that has made me feel awake." The room was silent. Dr. Patterson stood by the door watching. Imani clutched the letter in both hands. "My husband Marcus died 11 months ago," Imani said finally. "Car accident, same as your family. He was coming home from his night shift. He worked security at an office building. Someone ran a red light." Adrian closed his eyes. "I am sorry. Lily was there when the police came to tell us. She watched me fall apart. And then a month later, she started having trouble breathing. We thought it was grief, we thought." Imani stopped. "The doctors diagnosed her with a congenital heart defect that had gone unnoticed. She needs a transplant. She has been on the waiting list for 9 months. Adrian felt the words hit him like a physical blow. He thought about the letter, the careful, slanting handwriting, the little sun drawn in crayon. She is dying, he said. It was not a question. The doctors do not like to use that word, but yes, without a transplant she has. Imani could not finish the sentence. She looked away. Maybe 6 months, maybe less. Before we continue, tell us where in the world you are watching from and what time it is right now. Someone near you might be watching too. And do not forget to subscribe to support the work we do on this channel. Adrian sat down heavily in one of the chairs. His legs would not hold him. I did not come here for a publicity stunt, he said. I did not come here to make myself look good or to use your daughter for some corporate image campaign. I came because she asked me to. And I do not have a good reason for that. I do not have any reason at all. But I am here, and I would very much like to meet her. If you will let me. Imani looked at Dr. Patterson. The doctor nodded almost imperceptibly. She is in room 417, Imani said quietly. Like she said in the letter, she planned this whole thing, made me promise to buy stamps, addressed the envelope herself. I thought she was writing to her teacher. She sounds like someone I would like to know. Imani's expression hardened slightly. She is not a charity case. She is not a feel-good story for your shareholders. She is my daughter. She is everything I have left. I know, Adrian said. And I promise you, whatever happens in that room, whatever she says to me, I will not treat her like anything less than exactly who she is. Imani studied him for a long moment. Then she stood. Come on, she said. She has been waiting for you. The walk to room 417 felt endless. Adrian was aware of his heart beating, of his palms sweating, of the strange tightness in his throat. He had negotiated deals worth billions of dollars without flinching. He had spoken to heads of state and industry titans and never felt nervous. But walking toward a hospital room to meet an 8-year-old girl, he felt terrified. The door was decorated with paper flowers and a hand-drawn sign that read Lily's room in purple marker. Imani knocked softly. Baby, you have a visitor. A small voice from inside. Who is it? Why do not you see for yourself? Imani pushed open the door, and Adrian stepped inside. The room was brighter than he expected. Sunlight streamed through large windows. The walls were covered with drawings, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, suns and flowers and rainbows and stick-figure families. A small television played cartoons with the sound muted. Medical equipment beeped and hummed in the background. And in the bed, propped up against a mountain of pillows, was Lily. She was small, smaller than he expected. Her skin was a few shades lighter than her mother's, her hair in 2 neat braids decorated with pink ribbons. She had an IV in her arm and a monitor clipped to her finger, but what Adrian noticed most were her eyes. They were huge and dark and startlingly alive. She looked at him for a long moment. Then a smile broke across her face like sunrise. You came, she said. You actually came. Adrian moved to the chair beside her bed and sat down. His voice came out rough. You asked me to, he said. How could I not? Lily glanced at her mother, who stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. Mama, I told you he would come. You did, baby. Imani's voice was carefully neutral. You were right. Lily turned back to Adrian. She studied his face with an intensity that made him want to look away. He did not. You still look sad, she said finally, but different sad. The TV sad was like a house with all the lights off. Now it is like there is one light on. In the kitchen, maybe. Adrian felt something shift in his chest. That is very perceptive. Lily shrugged. I notice things. Mama says I notice too much sometimes. That is not what I said, Imani interjected. I said you are too curious for your own good. That is basically the same thing. Lily patted the bed beside her. You can sit closer if you want. I do not have germs. Well, I have normal germs, not sick germs. The doctors say my heart is the problem, not anything catchy. Adrian moved from the chair to the edge of the bed. Lily immediately scooted closer. Can I ask you a question? She said. Of course. Why did you really come? Adrian thought about giving her the same answer he had given her mother. The truth about his wife and daughter, about feeling asleep, about waking up. But something about Lily's direct gaze made him go deeper. I think he said slowly that I have been lost for a very long time, and I think maybe your letter was a map. Lily considered this. Like a treasure map, maybe. What do you think the treasure is? Lily tilted her head. In her drawings, it is always the same thing. You know what it is? What? Family. She said it like it was the most obvious answer in the world. The treasure is always family. Adrian felt his throat tighten. He could not speak. My dad used to say that, Lily continued. He said we were his treasure, me and Mama. He said he did not need anything else because he had us. She paused, her small face suddenly older. Do you miss your family, your wife and daughter, every day? Me too. I miss my dad every day. Lily reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were tiny and cool. I think that is why I wrote to you, because you looked like you missed someone too, and I thought maybe we could miss people together. It is easier that way. Adrian looked down at their joined hands. His were large and calloused from years of gripping things too tightly. Hers were small and soft and trusting. Lily, he said, your letter said you wanted me to read you stories. She nodded eagerly. I love stories. My dad used to read to me every night. He did all the voices. Even the girl voices. She giggled. He was not very good at the girl voices. I am probably not very good at them either. That is okay. She squeezed his hand. You could try, if you want. Adrian looked at Imani, who was still standing in the doorway. Her expression was unreadable, but she was not stopping him. I would like that, he said. What should I read? Lily pointed to a small bookshelf in the corner. It was filled with well-worn children's books, their spines creased from reading and rereading. One with the wild things, she said. That is my favorite. Daddy used to say I was a wild thing because I never want to sit still. Adrian crossed to the bookshelf and found the book. He had read it 1,000 times to Rosie. He knew every word by heart. He sat back down beside Lily, opened to the first page, and began. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another. Lily leaned against his shoulder. She smelled like soap and medicine and something indefinably sweet. Adrian kept reading. He read until Lily fell asleep, her breathing soft and even against his arm. He read past the ending, starting over from the beginning, not wanting to disturb the fragile peace of the moment. He read until the sunlight shifted and the shadows lengthened and his voice grew hoarse. Finally, he felt a hand on his shoulder. Imani, she usually does not fall asleep with strangers, she said quietly. Adrian looked down at Lily's peaceful face. She is remarkable, I know. Imani gently lifted her daughter and settled her more comfortably against the pillows. She adjusted the blankets, checked the monitors, performed the dozen small rituals of a mother who had been doing this for too long. Then she gestured for Adrian to follow her into the hallway. They stood outside room 417. The corridor was quiet. Somewhere down the hall, a nurse laughed at something. I do not know what you want from this, Imani said. I do not know if you are genuine or if this is some kind of act. I have learned not to trust people who show up with good intentions. Good intentions do not pay hospital bills. They do not make donors appear on transplant lists. They do not bring back the dead. I know, Adrian said. Do you? Imani's voice was sharp. Because men like you, billionaires, you live in a different world. You can make a phone call and change someone's life. You can write a check and solve problems that would crush the rest of us. But you can also get bored. You can move on to the next interesting thing, and my daughter is not an interesting thing. She is a person who has already lost too much. Adrian let her finish. He did not defend himself. You are right, he said when she was done. You are right about all of it. I do live in a different world. I can make phone calls that change lives. And I have been bored, disconnected, sleepwalking through everything for years. But I am not going to do that to your daughter. I am not going to make promises I cannot keep or show up once for a photo opportunity and disappear. Why should I believe you? Because I have already lost a daughter once. Adrian's voice broke slightly. I could not save Rosie. I could not do anything. I stood in a hospital hallway just like this one while doctors told me she was gone, and I have spent every day since then wishing I could go back. Wishing I could have one more chance. He paused, collecting himself. I am not trying to replace her, he continued. And I am not trying to replace Lily's father. I know I am a stranger. I know I have not earned anything. But your daughter reached out to me. She saw something in my face and decided I was worth reaching out to. And maybe she was wrong. Maybe this is crazy, but I am asking you to give me a chance to prove that she was not. Imani was quiet for a long time. Adrian could see her weighing his words, searching for the trap, the angle, the hidden agenda. Finally she said, "If you hurt her, I will destroy you. I do not care how much money you have or how many lawyers you can afford. If you break my daughter's heart, I will find a way to make you suffer." Adrian nodded. Fair enough. She is awake by 7 every morning. She likes her eggs scrambled. She is allergic to strawberries. She thinks jokes about bodily functions are hilarious. And she talks about her father constantly, so you need to be prepared for that. I will be. Imani looked at him with those exhausted, protective, fierce eyes. She was a mother lion, Adrian realized. She had been fighting alone for so long. "Come back tomorrow," she said. "Read her another story. We will see where it goes from there." Adrian felt something loosen in his chest. "Thank you. Do not thank me yet." Imani turned to go back into Lily's room. "You have not earned anything." She was right, he had not. But standing in that hallway, with the echo of Lily's laughter still warm in his memory and the weight of her small hand still present in his palm, Adrian Blackwell made a silent promise. He would earn it. Whatever it took, however long it took, he would earn the right to be part of this little girl's life. And maybe, in the process, he would find his way back to his own. He left the hospital as the sun was setting. Thomas was waiting with the car. Margaret had called 6 times. The board meeting had been pushed to the next morning. His inbox had exploded. None of it mattered. Adrian climbed into the back seat and pulled out his phone. He typed a text to his brother David. "Something happened today. Something important. I met someone, a little girl in the hospital. She wrote me a letter." 3 dots appeared. Then David's response. "Are you okay?" Adrian thought about the question. For the first time in 5 years, he was not sure how to answer it. "I do not know," he typed back, "but I think I might be getting there." He put his phone away and watched the city slide past the window. Tomorrow he would go back. Tomorrow he would read another story. Tomorrow he would sit beside Lily's bed and let her tell him about her father, about her drawings, about why the red jello was better than the green. Tomorrow he would start earning his place. But tonight he went home to his empty penthouse and did something he had not done in years. He dug out the box of Rosie's drawings from the back of his closet. He spread them across his bed. Suns and flowers and stick figure families, just like Lily's. And for the first time since the accident, Adrian Blackwell let himself cry. He cried for Rosie and Emily. He cried for Marcus Thomas, a man he had never met who had been taken too soon. He cried for Lily, fighting battles no 8-year-old should have to fight. He cried for Imani, carrying burdens no mother should have to carry alone. And he cried for himself, for all the years he had spent not feeling, for the walls he had built, for the life he had let slip away while he was busy building an empire that meant nothing. When he was done, he gathered up Rosie's drawings and placed them carefully back in the box. But he kept one out, a sun, bright yellow, with a smiling face. He taped it to his bathroom mirror where he would see it every morning. Then he went to bed. And for the first time in 5 years, Adrian Blackwell slept without dreaming of the accident. He dreamed instead of a hospital room filled with drawings, of a little girl with huge dark eyes and pink ribbons in her hair, of her small hand in his, trusting him completely, of a chance he did not deserve but was determined to earn. Tomorrow he would begin. Adrian arrived at St. Francis Hospital at 6:45 the next morning. He had not slept well after those first few peaceful hours. His mind kept circling back to Lily, to Imani, to the weight of what he was attempting to do. But he had promised himself he would be there when Lily woke up, and Adrian Blackwell kept his promises. The hospital was quieter in the early morning. Night shift nurses finishing their rounds, day shift staff trickling in with coffee cups and tired eyes. Adrian had stopped at a bookstore on the way, one of the few that opened early, and purchased a small stack of children's books. He did not know what Lily had already read, so he chose a variety: adventure stories, funny stories, stories about animals and magic and faraway places. He also brought breakfast, nothing fancy, scrambled eggs from a diner near his apartment, packed carefully in containers that would keep them warm. Orange juice. A small carton of chocolate milk, because he remembered Rosie had loved chocolate milk in the mornings. The nurse at the station recognized him from the day before. She smiled and waved him through without asking questions. Word had apparently spread that the billionaire was visiting the little girl in room 417. Adrian knocked softly on the door. "Come in," called a small voice. He pushed open the door and found Lily sitting up in bed, already awake, her hair still in yesterday's braids but slightly messier now. She was drawing something, her tongue poking out of the corner of her mouth in concentration. When she saw him, her face lit up. "You came back," she said. "I told Mama you would come back. She said not to get my hopes up, but I knew." Adrian crossed to her bedside and set down the bags. "I told you I would, and I brought breakfast." Lily peered into the bag. Her eyes went wide. "Scrambled eggs. How did you know I like scrambled eggs?" "Your mother told me." Lily looked at him with something like wonder. "You talked to Mama about me?" "Of course, I wanted to know what you like." He pulled out the containers and set them on her tray table. "I also brought chocolate milk, but I was not sure if you were allowed to have it. We should probably ask the nurse." Lily was already reaching for the chocolate milk. "The nurses let me have treats sometimes. Especially when I have been good. And I have been very good." She paused, considering, "Well, mostly good. I told Nurse Patricia that her new haircut made her look like a poodle, but I did not mean it in a bad way. Poodles are very smart." Adrian felt his lips twitch. "Maybe we should apologize to Nurse Patricia." "I already did." She laughed and said I was not wrong. Lily opened the container of eggs and inhaled deeply. "These smell amazing." "Did you make them yourself?" "No, I got them from a restaurant. I am not a very good cook. My dad was not a good cook either." Lily took a bite of eggs and chewed thoughtfully. "He tried to make pancakes once and they turned out like rocks. Mama said we could use them as frisbees. We threw them in the backyard for the birds, but even the birds did not want them." Adrian sat down in the chair beside her bed. He watched her eat, this small, fierce girl who had somehow reached through his defenses with a single letter. "Can I ask you something, Lily?" She nodded, mouth full of eggs. "Why did you write to me? Out of all the people you could have written to, why me?" Lily swallowed and took a sip of chocolate milk. She seemed to be thinking carefully about her answer. "I saw you on the news," she said finally. "Mama had it on in the room because she likes to know what is happening in the world. And there was a story about your company and how you make computer things that help doctors. They showed a picture of you and talked about how successful you are and how much money you have." Adrian nodded. "That was probably after the quarterly earnings report. But then they showed a video of you at some fancy party." Lily set down her fork. "And you were smiling and shaking hands, but your eyes were not smiling. My dad taught me how to tell when someone is really smiling and when they are just pretending. He said the real smiles go all the way up to the eyes. Yours did not." Adrian felt exposed. An 8-year-old had seen through him more clearly than any business partner or board member ever had. "And then I had the dream," Lily continued. "I dream a lot. The medicine makes me sleepy, so I dream more than most people probably. Usually my dreams are silly. Like one time I dreamed I was a penguin who could fly but only backwards." She giggled at the memory. "But this dream was different. You were sitting right here, in that chair, and you were reading to me. And when I woke up, I felt like something important had happened, like the dream was telling me something." "What do you think it was telling you?" Lily looked at him with those huge dark eyes. "That you needed me, and maybe I needed you too." Adrian could not speak for a moment. He looked down at his hands, then back at Lily. "You are a very wise person," he said finally. Lily shrugged. "Mama says I am an old soul. I do not know exactly what that means, but I think it is a compliment." "It is." The door opened and Imani came in, carrying a bag and looking like she had not slept much either. She stopped short when she saw Adrian. "You are here early," she said. "I brought breakfast." Adrian gestured to the containers. "Scrambled eggs." Lily said they were her favorite. Imani looked at her daughter, then at Adrian, then back at her daughter. Something complicated passed across her face. "That was thoughtful," she said carefully. "Thank you. There is enough for you too. And coffee. I did not know how you take it, so I brought cream and sugar on the side." Imani set down her bag and accepted the coffee. She did not sit down. "Lily, baby, how are you feeling this morning?" "Good, better than yesterday even. My chest does not hurt as much." Lily held up her chocolate milk. "Mr. Adrian brought me chocolate milk. I see that, and books. He brought books too." Lily pointed to the stack Adrian had set on the windowsill. Can he read to me again, Mama, please? Imani looked at Adrian. He met her gaze steadily, not pushing, not presuming, just waiting. After a moment she nodded. After breakfast. And you need to take your medicine first. The morning passed in a rhythm that felt strangely natural. Adrian read to Lily while Imani sat in the corner, ostensibly working on her laptop but actually watching them. He did all the voices, even the girl voices, and Lily laughed at his attempts. She corrected his pronunciation when he got words wrong. She asked questions about the characters and made up alternate endings when she did not like how stories turned out. Around 10 o'clock, a team of doctors came in for rounds. Adrian stood to leave, but Lily grabbed his hand. Stay, she said, please. He looked at Imani. She hesitated, then nodded. Adrian stayed. The doctors talked about Lily's condition in clinical terms: congenital heart defect, cardiomyopathy, transplant waitlist. They discussed her latest test results, her medication adjustments, her vital signs. Lily listened quietly, her hand still holding Adrian's. When the doctors left, Lily turned to him. They think I do not understand, she said. But I do. I know my heart is broken. Not like in the sad songs, but really actually broken. And they need to find me a new one. That must be scary, Adrian said. Sometimes. Lily picked at a loose thread on her blanket. But my dad told me something before he died. He did not know he was going to die, I do not think. But he told me that being brave does not mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing the thing anyway. Your dad sounds like he was very smart. He was. Lily smiled, but it was a sad smile. He used to say I was his little lion, because lions are brave even when they are small. Adrian thought about Rosie, about the way she used to roar at him when she was pretending to be a dinosaur. About her fearless laughter. I think you are the bravest person I have ever met, he said. Lily squeezed his hand. Thank you, Mr. Adrian. You can just call me Adrian if you want. Lily considered this. Can I call you something else instead? What did you have in mind? She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I do not know yet. I have to think about it. Names are important. You cannot just pick one without thinking. That is very true. Imani stood up from her corner. Lily, you should rest. The doctors said you need to sleep more. But Adrian just got here. He will come back. Imani's voice was firm but not unkind. Will you not? Adrian nodded. I will be back tomorrow, same time, and the day after that, and the day after that. Lily searched his face for a long moment. Then she nodded, apparently satisfied with what she saw. Okay, but you have to promise. Promise you will come back. I promise. A real promise. Not a grown-up promise that does not mean anything. A kid promise. Adrian felt the weight of her words. He understood what she was asking. She had lost her father. She had learned that people could disappear without warning. She needed him to mean it. I promise, he said again. A kid promise. I will be back tomorrow. Lily let go of his hand. She settled back against her pillows, already looking tired. Adrian, she said as he reached the door. Yes, thank you for coming, for reading to me, for the eggs. Thank you for writing to me, he replied, for reaching out. Lily smiled, her eyes already closing. Sometimes you have to reach out. Otherwise, how will people know you need them? Adrian carried those words with him out of the hospital and into the rest of his day. The next 3 weeks fell into a pattern. Adrian would arrive at the hospital early each morning before his first meeting of the day. He would bring breakfast for Lily and coffee for Imani. He would read stories, help Lily with the homework her teachers sent over, play card games when she was feeling strong enough. He rearranged his entire schedule to make it work. Board meetings were pushed to afternoons. Video conferences replaced in-person ones whenever possible. He delegated more than he ever had before, trusting his team to handle things he would have insisted on managing himself. Margaret noticed the change immediately. You seem different, she said one morning as he was leaving for the hospital. Different how? I do not know. She studied him, lighter maybe, like something has shifted. Adrian considered her words. Something has, he said. I will tell you about it when I understand it better myself. The staff at St. Francis came to know him. Nurses would wave as he passed. Doctors would update him on Lily's condition. The woman at the information desk stopped asking for his ID. Imani took longer to warm up. She watched him carefully for the first week. cataloging every interaction, every promise, every gesture. She asked pointed questions about his intentions. She made it clear that she was not impressed by his money or his status. But slowly, incrementally, she began to relax. It happened in small moments. She would laugh at something he said. She would leave the room for longer stretches, trusting him alone with Lily. She would share stories about Marcus, about their life before everything fell apart. My husband was not a wealthy man, she told Adrian one afternoon while Lily napped. He worked nights so he could be home during the day with Lily. He made just enough to cover the bills. But he was happy, we were happy. What did he do during the day with her? Everything. Imani smiled at the memory. They would go to the park, the library, the free museums. He knew every free activity in the city. He used to say that adventures did not cost money, they cost attention. Adrian thought about his own life, the expensive vacations he had taken with Emily and Rosie, the gifts he had bought to make up for the time he did not spend with them. He sounds like a remarkable man, Adrian said. He was. Imani's voice was steady, but her eyes were bright. He was not perfect. He could not fix a leaky faucet to save his life. He was terrible with directions. He once got lost driving to a place he had been 100 times, but he loved us. He loved us completely and without reservation. And that was enough. She looked at Adrian directly. I do not know what you are looking for here, she said. I do not know if you are trying to fill a hole in your own life or if you genuinely care about my daughter. But I need you to understand something. Lily has already lost one father. She cannot lose another one. Adrian nodded. I understand, do you? Because right now you show up every day with presents and stories and smiles. But what happens when it gets hard? What happens when your business needs you? What happens when some new exciting thing comes along? I do not know, Adrian said honestly. I cannot promise that I will be perfect. I cannot promise that I will never make mistakes or let you down. But I can promise that I will try, that I will keep showing up, that I will not disappear. Imani studied him for a long moment. Then she said, Marcus made me a promise when Lily was born. He said he would always be there for her. He meant it. And then he died anyway. Adrian did not have a response to that. Some promises could not be kept no matter how much you meant them. I know you cannot control everything, Imani continued. I know that sometimes life just happens and there is nothing anyone can do. But I need you to promise me that you will not leave by choice. That if you walk away from my daughter, it will not be because you got bored or scared or distracted. I promise, Adrian said. And I mean it. Imani nodded slowly. Okay then, we will see. If this moment hit you hard, you are not alone. Take a breath. Drop a comment telling us what you are feeling right now. And if you have not subscribed yet, this is your sign. The nightmare came on a Thursday night. Adrian had gone home late after a particularly long day at the hospital. Lily had been feeling weak, her energy lower than usual. The doctors said it was normal, that she would have good days and bad days, but it worried him. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. His phone rang at 2 in the morning. Imani's number. He answered immediately. Adrian. Imani's voice was shaky. I am sorry to call so late, but she is asking for you. She had a nightmare and she is asking for you. I am on my way. He threw on clothes and drove to the hospital himself, not bothering to call Thomas. The streets were empty at that hour. He made it in 12 minutes. Imani was waiting outside room 417. She looked exhausted and worried and something else. Surprised maybe. She has nightmares sometimes, Imani said quietly, about her father, about the accident. She usually wants me to hold her, but tonight she kept saying your name. Adrian felt something tighten in his chest. She did. Go to her, I will be right here. He pushed open the door. Lily was sitting up in bed, her face streaked with tears. The monitors beeped steadily, but she was shaking, her small body trembling beneath the blankets. Adrian, she said when she saw him, her voice breaking on his name. He crossed to her bed and sat down, opening his arms without thinking. She fell into them immediately, clinging to him, sobbing against his chest. I dreamed you left, she said between gasps, like Daddy did. I dreamed you were there and then you were gone and I kept calling for you but you did not come back. Adrian held her tighter. He could feel her heart racing, could feel the fear radiating from her small body. I am here, he said. I am right here. I am not going anywhere. You promise? I promise. He pulled back slightly so he could look at her face. I need you to breathe with me, okay? Can you do that? Lily nodded, her breath still hitching. Okay, watch me. Adrian took a deep breath in, slow and deliberate. In through your nose like you are smelling flowers. Lily tried to copy him, her breath shaky. Good, now out through your mouth like you are blowing out birthday candles. They breathed together, in and out, in and out. Slowly Lily's trembling began to ease. Her grip on his shirt loosened slightly. My dad used to do this with me, she whispered, when I was scared. It is a good technique, Adrian said. My wife taught it to me. She said it helped calm the storms in your head. I like that. Lily sniffled. Storms in your head. That is what it feels like. I know. They sat in silence for a moment. Adrian kept his arms around her, kept breathing in that slow, deliberate rhythm. Adrian, Lily's voice was small. Yes. I do not want you to leave, ever. Adrian felt his heart crack open. He thought about all the years he had spent building walls, protecting himself from feeling anything. And here was this little girl, breaking through them like they were made of paper. I know, sweetheart, I do not want to leave either. Lily pulled back and looked at him with those huge dark eyes. But you have to go home sometimes. You have your job and your house and your life. That is true. So you will always have to leave a little bit. Adrian considered her words. She was right, of course. He could not stay in this hospital room forever. He had responsibilities, obligations, a company that depended on him, but he could make a different kind of promise. You know what I realized, he said. The leaving is not the important part. The coming back is. Lily tilted her head. What do you mean? I mean that everybody has to leave sometimes. Your mom has to go home to sleep. The doctors have to go see other patients. Even the sun has to go away at night so the moon can have a turn. But the people who love you, they always come back. That is how you know what? That they are your people, that you belong to each other. Lily was quiet for a moment, processing this. Then she said, my dad did not come back. Adrian felt the weight of her words. He did not look away from her. I know, he said gently, and that was not his choice. He would have come back if he could have. You know that, right? Lily nodded slowly. Mama says he is watching me from heaven, that he can see everything I do. I believe that is true. Do you think your wife and daughter are watching you too? Adrian had not thought about it in those terms before. He had spent so long being angry at the universe for taking them, so long numbing himself to avoid the pain, that he had never considered the possibility of their continued presence. I hope so, he said finally. I hope they can see that I am trying to be better, to feel things again. Lily reached up and touched his face. Her small fingers were cool against his cheek. They can see, she said with absolute certainty, and they are proud of you. I know they are. Adrian had to close his eyes. He had to take a moment to breathe through the wave of emotion that threatened to overwhelm him. When he opened his eyes, Lily was smiling at him. Will you stay until I fall asleep? She asked. Yes. Will you be here when I wake up? I will be here. Lily settled back against her pillows, but she kept hold of his hand. Adrian adjusted himself in the chair beside her bed, preparing for a long night. Adrian, yes. I have been thinking about what to call you, Lily said, her eyes already growing heavy. I do not want to call you Mr. Adrian anymore. It is too formal. And I cannot call you Dad because that was my father's name and it belongs to him. That makes sense, Adrian said. But I was thinking. Lily yawned. My dad was my Earth daddy. He was here with me, and he held my hand, and he read me stories, and he chased away the bad dreams. And now he is my heaven daddy. He is up there watching me and loving me even though I cannot see him. She paused, her voice growing softer. And you, she continued, you are like a new kind of daddy. Not the same as my Earth daddy, but not different either. You are like a bonus. Like when you get extra fries at the restaurant even though you did not order them. Adrian felt tears pricking at his eyes. Like bonus fries, Lily nodded sleepily. Mama calls unexpected good things bonuses, so maybe you could be my bonus daddy if you want. Adrian could not speak for a moment. He squeezed her hand gently. I would be honored, he managed finally. Good. Lily's eyes were closed now, her breath evening out. Because I already started thinking of you that way, I just needed to tell you. Sleep now, Adrian said softly. I will be here. Promise, promise. She was asleep within minutes. Adrian stayed in the chair, holding her hand, watching the monitors blink and beep. Sometime before dawn, Imani came in with coffee for both of them. She did not say anything, just handed him the cup and sat down in the other chair. They watched Lily sleep together as the sun came up. The article appeared 3 days later. Adrian was in his office, catching up on the work he had been neglecting, when Margaret burst in without knocking. Her face was pale. "You need to see this," she said, setting a tablet in front of him. The headline read, "Billionaire's Secret Hospital Visits BLACKWLL Spotted with Dying Child." Adrian felt his stomach drop. The article was accompanied by photos: him walking into St. Francis, him in the hospital gift shop buying a stuffed animal, him and Lily visible through her window, her hand in his while he read to her. Someone had been following him. Someone had taken pictures. Someone had sold them to the tabloids. The article itself was speculation dressed up as journalism. Anonymous sources claiming he was using the sick child for publicity, quotes from industry experts questioning his judgment, a sidebar about his wife and daughter, framing his visits to Lily as either grief-driven obsession or calculated image management. Adrian read it twice, his hands shaking with anger. "How did they find out?" he asked. "I do not know." Margaret's voice was tight. "Could be anyone. A hospital employee, someone who saw you coming and going. Could be someone from the company who noticed your schedule changes." "This is going to hurt her," Adrian said. "Lily and Imani, this is going to hurt them." His phone rang, David's number. "I just saw," his brother said without preamble. "How bad is it?" "I do not know yet." Adrian stood up, already reaching for his coat. "I need to get to the hospital." "Adrian, wait. You need to think about this strategically. If you go there now, the press will follow you." "I do not care. You should care." David's voice was gentle but firm. "I'm not saying do not go. I am saying think about how you go. Lily does not need cameras in her face. Neither does her mother." Adrian stopped. His brother was right. Of course he was right. But every instinct was screaming at him to get to Lily, to explain, to protect her from whatever fallout this would bring. "What do I do?" he asked. "Let me handle the press," David said. "I will put out a statement, something simple. You have been visiting a family in need. You ask for privacy. No details, no names if we can manage it. And then you go to the hospital through the back entrance. You talk to Imani before she sees the article. You let her decide what happens next." Adrian nodded even though David could not see him. Okay. He hung up and looked at Margaret. "Get me a car, not the usual one, something discreet. And find out which entrance the staff uses." 20 minutes later, Adrian was walking through the service corridors of St. Francis Hospital, past laundry carts and supply closets, following signs that led to the patient wings. He emerged on the 4th floor and made his way to room 417. Imani was standing outside the door. She was holding her phone, and when she looked up at him, her eyes were blazing. "Did you know?" she demanded. "Did you know they were taking pictures?" "No." Adrian held up his hands. "I swear to you I had no idea. There are photos of my daughter all over the internet. There are people commenting about her illness, about her father, about things they have no right to know. I know, and I am so sorry. My brother is handling the press. We are going to get ahead of this." "Get ahead of this?" Imani's voice rose. "This is not a business problem you can manage. This is my daughter's life. This is my family's privacy. I know, do you? Because right now it looks like I was right all along, like you are just another rich man who cannot help but make everything about himself." Adrian felt the words like a blow. He wanted to defend himself, to explain that he had been careful, that he never wanted any of this. But he knew she was right to be angry. She had trusted him, against her better judgment, and now her daughter was being discussed by strangers on the internet. "You are right," he said quietly. "You have every reason to be furious with me." Imani blinked. She had clearly been expecting him to argue. "What? You are right," Adrian repeated. "I should have been more careful. I should have anticipated that my presence would attract attention. I should have taken steps to protect you and Lily from exactly this kind of exposure. I did not, and that is my failure." Imani stared at him for a long moment. Some of the fire went out of her eyes. "What are you going to do about it?" she asked finally. "Whatever you want me to do," Adrian said. "If you want me to leave, to stay away from Lily, I will do it. It will break my heart, but I will do it. If you want me to fight this, to use every resource I have to protect your family's privacy, I will do that too. But this is your call, not mine." Imani was quiet for a long time. Adrian could hear monitors beeping somewhere down the hall, could hear the murmur of voices from the nurse's station. She knows, Imani said finally. Lily. One of the nurses showed her the article on her phone. She did not mean any harm. She thought Lily would think it was cool to be famous, but Lily saw the comments. Adrian felt his heart sink. What did she say? She asked why people were being mean about you. Imani's voice cracked slightly. She asked why they were saying you did not really care about her. She asked if it was true. What did you tell her? I did not know what to tell her. Imani looked at him with exhausted, angry, vulnerable eyes. I do not know what is true anymore. I thought I did. I thought you were genuine. But now I do not know. Adrian took a step closer. He did not reach for her, did not try to offer comfort she had not asked for. I cannot prove what is in my heart, he said. I cannot show you a receipt for my feelings or a contract that guarantees my sincerity. All I can do is tell you the truth. I did not come to that hospital for publicity. I did not read to your daughter for photo opportunities. I did not hold her hand through nightmares so that strangers on the internet would think I was a good person. Then why? Imani asked. Why did you do any of it? Because your daughter saw me, Adrian said simply. She saw through all the walls I had built, all the defenses I had constructed, and she reached out her hand. And something in me, something I thought had died 5 years ago, reached back. Imani's eyes were bright with unshed tears. She is everything to me, she whispered. She is all I have left. I know. If you hurt her, if you abandon her like everyone else. I will not, Adrian said. I cannot promise that I will never make mistakes. I cannot promise that I will handle everything perfectly. But I can promise that I will not leave by choice. I will fight for your daughter. I will fight for both of you, for as long as you will let me. Imani studied his face for a long moment. Then she stepped aside. She has been asking for you, she said quietly, all morning. She wants to talk to you about the article. Adrian nodded. He moved toward the door, then stopped. Thank you, he said, for giving me another chance. You have not earned it yet, Imani replied, but you are trying, and that counts for something. Adrian pushed open the door. Lily was sitting up in bed, her face pale but determined. When she saw him, she did not smile. She just patted the space beside her. Sit down, she said. We need to talk. Adrian sat. Did you see the article? Lily asked. Yes. Did you see what people said about you? Some of it. Lily nodded seriously. They said you were using me. They said you only came to the hospital because you wanted to look good. They said you did not really care. What do you think? Adrian asked. Lily was quiet for a moment. I think people say mean things when they do not understand something. My dad used to say that scared people bite like dogs. Your dad was wise, I know. Lily picked at her blanket. I also think that some people have been hurt so many times that they cannot believe anyone is genuine anymore. It is like they are wearing special glasses that make everything look ugly. That is very perceptive. Lily looked up at him. Do you only care about me because you want to look good? No, Adrian said firmly. Do you only come to the hospital because you feel guilty about your daughter? Adrian hesitated. That was a harder question. I do not think so, he said carefully. I mean, I do think about Rosie when I am here. I think about what she would be like if she had lived, what kind of person she would have become. But that is not why I come. I come because of you, because you are funny and smart and brave, and you make me feel things I had forgotten I could feel. Lily considered this. Then she said, I know you are not trying to replace my dad, I know, and I know you are not trying to replace Rosie with me. Adrian felt his throat tighten. I know, good. Lily reached out and took his hand. Because I do not want to be a replacement, I just want to be your bonus daughter. And I want you to be my bonus daddy, not instead of anyone else, just in addition. That is exactly what I want too, Adrian said. Lily smiled then finally, and it was like the sun coming out. Okay then, she said, let us not worry about what the internet says. They do not know us. They do not know anything. You are absolutely right. But Adrian, yes. Lily's expression turned serious again. You should probably do something about the reporters outside. Mama is going to get cranky if they do not go away. Adrian laughed. It was the first time he had laughed in days. I will take care of it, he promised. Good. Now will you read to me? I want to hear the one about the mouse who goes on an adventure. Adrian picked up the book from the bedside table. Lily settled against her pillows, her hand still holding his. And for a while, at least, the rest of the world faded away. The press conference was David's idea. Adrian hated everything about it, but he understood the necessity. The story was not going away on its own. Better to address it directly than let speculation continue to spiral. He stood at a podium in the lobby of Blackwell Technologies, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. Margaret stood to his left, David to his right. He had prepared a statement, but decided at the last moment to speak from the heart instead. Several weeks ago, Adrian began, I received a letter. It was from an 8-year-old girl named Lily. She is in the hospital with a serious heart condition. She wrote to tell me that she saw me on television and thought I looked sad. She invited me to visit her so we could be sad together. The room went quiet. I do not know why her letter reached me when so many others had not, Adrian continued. I do not know why this particular child's words broke through the walls I had spent 5 years building, but they did, and I went to visit her, and I have kept visiting her, not for publicity, not for image management, just because she asked me to. He paused, looking directly into the cameras. 5 years ago, I lost my wife and daughter in a car accident. I have spent every day since then trying not to feel anything. I thought that if I could just stay numb, stay focused on work, stay busy, I could avoid the pain. It did not work. All I did was avoid living. Lily helped me start to live again. She and her mother have become important to me, and I will not apologize for that. I will not explain it or justify it or defend it. All I will say is this: I am asking for privacy, not for myself, for Lily and her family. They are dealing with enough without having cameras shoved in their faces. He looked around the room at the assembled reporters. That is all I have to say, Adrian concluded. I will not be taking questions. He stepped away from the podium and walked out of the room, his brother and assistant flanking him. Behind him, he could hear the explosion of questions, the clicking of cameras. He did not look back. 3 days later, the news cycle moved on to something else. A political scandal, a celebrity divorce, the endless churn of fresh outrage and fascination. Lily's name faded from the headlines. Adrian's visits resumed without fanfare, but something had changed. Imani met him at the hospital that first day back with something different in her eyes. Not the suspicion he had become accustomed to, not the careful neutrality of a mother protecting her child. Something that looked almost like trust. I saw your press conference, she said quietly. Adrian shrugged. I said what needed to be said. You could have spun it differently, made it about your charitable work. Your compassion, you could have turned it into good publicity. I did not want good publicity, Adrian said. I wanted them to leave Lily alone. Imani studied him for a long moment. Then she did something she had never done before. She reached out and took his hand. Thank you, she said, for protecting my daughter. Adrian felt something shift in his chest. Another wall crumbling, another piece of his frozen heart beginning to thaw. Always, he said, whatever it takes, always, Imani nodded. Then she released his hand and stepped back. She has been waiting for you, she said, something about a drawing she wants to show you. Adrian smiled and pushed open the door to room 417. Lily was sitting up in bed, a large piece of paper clutched in her hands. When she saw him, her face lit up. You came back, she said. Again, I told you I always would. I know, but I like it when you do anyway. Lily held out the paper. Look what I made you. Adrian took the drawing and looked at it. It showed 3 figures standing in front of a house. A woman with dark hair, a little girl with braids, and a tall man in a blue suit. They were all holding hands. Above them, in careful, uneven letters, Lily had written "My family." Adrian felt tears prick at his eyes. He tried to blink them away, but they fell anyway. Do you like it? Lily asked anxiously. I made the suit blue because you always wear blue suits. And I gave Mama her good shoes, the ones she saves for special occasions. And I drew myself with braids, even though I cannot actually wear braids right now because my hair is getting too thin from the medicine. It is perfect, Adrian said, his voice rough. It is absolutely perfect. You can hang it in your house if you want, Lily offered. That way you will remember us when you are not here. I do not need a picture to remember you, Adrian said, but I am going to hang it anyway, in my bedroom, so I see it every morning when I wake up. Lily beamed. She reached out her arms, and Adrian leaned down to hug her. I love you, bonus daddy, she whispered against his ear. Adrian closed his eyes and held her tight. I love you too, bonus daughter, he whispered back, more than you will ever know. Outside the window, the sun was setting. Inside the room, monitors beeped and hummed. And somewhere in the space between, a broken man and a sick little girl held onto each other like the world depended on it. Because for both of them, it did. The call came at 4 in the morning on a Tuesday. Adrian was already awake, as he often was these days. Sleep had become elusive, his mind churning with worry about Lily's declining condition. He was sitting in his study, pretending to review quarterly reports, when his phone lit up with Imani's number. He answered before the second ring. "They found one," Imani said, her voice trembling. "A heart. They found a heart." Adrian was on his feet immediately. "When?" "They are prepping her now. The surgery is in 3 hours. Adrian, I need you here. She is asking for you. I am on my way." He did not bother changing out of his pajamas. He threw on a coat, grabbed his keys, and ran to the garage. Thomas was not there at 4 in the morning, but Adrian did not care. He drove himself, breaking every speed limit between his house and St. Francis Hospital. The drive took 11 minutes. It should have taken 25. Imani was waiting outside the surgical wing. She looked smaller than he had ever seen her, wrapped in a cardigan that was too big, her eyes red from crying. When she saw him, she did not say anything. She just walked into his arms. Adrian held her while she shook. "She is so scared," Imani whispered. "She is trying to be brave, but she is so scared." "Where is she?" "They are running final tests. We can see her in a few minutes." They stood together in the hallway, two people bound by love for the same little girl. Adrian kept his arms around Imani, giving her whatever strength he had to offer. She let him. Finally, a nurse appeared. "You can see her now, but only for a few minutes. We need to start prepping her soon." They followed the nurse to a room where Lily lay in a hospital bed, looking impossibly small. There were wires everywhere, monitors beeping, medical equipment Adrian did not recognize. But her eyes were open, and when she saw them, she smiled. "You came," she said to Adrian, "both of you." "Of course we came." Adrian moved to her bedside and took her hand. "I told you I would always come back, I know." Lily's voice was calm, calmer than it had any right to be. "I just wanted to make sure. In case." "There is no in case," Imani said fiercely, moving to the other side of the bed. "You are going to be fine. The doctors are the best in the country. This is what we have been waiting for." Lily looked at her mother. "Mama, it is okay to be scared. You told me that. Remember?" Imani's face crumpled. She pressed Lily's hand to her cheek and cried. Adrian watched them, mother and daughter, connected by something deeper than blood. He felt like an intruder on their moment, but when he tried to step back, Lily tightened her grip on his hand. "Do not go," she said. "I need both of you. I am not going anywhere." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Adrian, can I tell you something? Anything. I had another dream last night, about my dad." Adrian felt his chest tighten. "What happened in the dream?" "He came to see me." Lily's eyes were distant, remembering. "He was wearing his favorite shirt, the one with the stripes. And he told me not to be afraid. He said he would be with me the whole time, even if I could not see him." "That sounds like a beautiful dream," Adrian said. "It was." Lily looked at him directly. "He also said something about you." "About me?" "He said thank you for taking care of us, for loving us when he could not anymore." Adrian had to close his eyes. He could feel tears streaming down his face, but he did not try to stop them. "He said you were a good man," Lily continued, "and that he was glad Mama found you. He said I should tell you that it is okay to be happy again, that he wants you to be happy." Adrian opened his eyes. Lily was watching him with that ancient wisdom that sometimes appeared in her gaze. "Your dad sounds like he was an incredible person," Adrian managed. "He was." Lily smiled. "And so are you. You are different kinds of incredible, but you are both the same amount, if that makes sense." "It makes perfect sense." The nurse appeared in the doorway. "I am sorry," she said gently. "We need to take her now." Imani made a sound that was not quite a word. She leaned down and kissed Lily's forehead, her cheeks, her hands. "I love you, baby," she said. "I love you so much. You fight, okay? You fight and you come back to me." "I will, Mama." Lily touched her mother's face. "I promise. A kid promise." Imani laughed through her tears. "A kid promise." She stepped back and Adrian leaned down. "Lily," he said quietly, "I need you to do something for me." "What?" "I need you to imagine that you are a lion, the bravest lion in the whole world. Can you do that?" Lily nodded. "Good, now I need you to hold on to that feeling. All through the surgery, no matter what happens, you stay a lion, you stay brave. And when you wake up, I will be right here. Okay, okay. Lily reached up and touched his face. I love you, bonus daddy. I love you too, bonus daughter. Adrian kissed her forehead more than all the stars in the sky. The orderlies came then and the bed began to move. Lily kept her eyes on them as long as she could, watching them over her shoulder as they wheeled her toward the surgical suite. Just before she disappeared through the doors, she raised her hand and waved. Then she was gone. The waiting room was beige. Adrian had never noticed before how many shades of beige there were in hospitals. Beige walls, beige chairs, beige floor tiles. Like the architects had decided that neutrality was the safest choice, that color might somehow make the waiting worse. He sat beside Imani on a small couch that was not quite comfortable. She had stopped crying, but she had not let go of his hand. They sat in silence, watching the clock on the wall tick through minutes that felt like hours. Other families came and went. A couple with a newborn, leaving with balloons and flowers. An elderly man being wheeled out by his adult children. A teenager on crutches, complaining loudly about missing a party. Life continued around them while they waited to find out if Lily's would continue at all. Around 7 in the morning, David arrived. He brought coffee and pastries and sat down across from them without saying anything. He just pulled out his phone and began handling whatever needed to be handled. Adrian had never been more grateful for his brother. Margaret came at 8. She had a bag of clothes for Adrian, having correctly guessed that he had left the house in his pajamas. She also brought a tablet loaded with work emails. You do not have to look at those, she said, but I thought you might want the distraction. Adrian did not want the distraction. He wanted to pace. He wanted to storm into the surgical suite and demand updates. He wanted to do something, anything, besides sit in this beige room and wait. But he stayed. He held Imani's hand. Drank the coffee David brought. He stared at the clock and willed time to move faster. At 9:30, a nurse came out. Adrian and Imani both shot to their feet. The surgery is progressing well, the nurse said. The surgeon wanted me to let you know that the new heart is in place and they are working on the connections now. It will be a few more hours, but everything is going smoothly. Imani let out a breath she seemed to have been holding for hours. Adrian felt his knees go weak with relief. Thank you, he said. Please keep us updated, of course. The nurse left and Imani turned to Adrian. She is doing it, she said. My baby is doing it. She is, Adrian agreed. She is fighting, just like she promised. Imani looked at him for a long moment. Then she said something that surprised him. I did not want to like you. When you first started coming around, I thought you were just another rich man playing at charity. I thought you would get bored and leave. Adrian nodded. I know, but you did not leave. Even when the press came, even when it got hard, you stayed. I stayed, Adrian agreed. Why? Imani's voice was genuine, curious. Why did you stay? Adrian thought about the question. He had asked himself the same thing many times over the past months. Because Lily asked me to, he said finally. Because she saw something in me that I could not see in myself. And because somewhere along the way, you stopped being a woman, I visited at a hospital and started being family. Imani's eyes filled with tears. Family, if you will have me. She did not answer with words. She just leaned into him, resting her head on his shoulder. Adrian put his arm around her and held on. They stayed like that, two people who had both lost everything and somehow found each other, waiting for news about the little girl who had brought them together. The surgery took 7 hours and 43 minutes. Adrian counted everyone. When the surgeon finally emerged, still in his scrubs, Adrian and Imani were on their feet before he had taken 2 steps into the waiting room. The surgery was successful, he said, and Adrian felt his entire body sag with relief. The new heart is functioning well. She is in recovery now. Can we see her? Imani asked. She will be asleep for several more hours, but yes, you can see her, one at a time for a few minutes each. Imani looked at Adrian. You go first. Adrian shook his head. No. You are her mother, you go. Imani hesitated, then nodded. She followed the surgeon through the double doors, leaving Adrian alone in the waiting room. David appeared at his side. How are you holding up? I do not know, Adrian admitted. I have never been this scared in my life, not even when Emily and Rosie died. That happened so fast I did not have time to be scared. This was different. This was hours of waiting and not knowing. But she made it, she made it. Adrian let out a shaky breath. She made it. David put a hand on his shoulder. I am proud of you, little brother. Adrian looked at him. For what? For being here, for caring, for letting yourself feel something again. David squeezed his shoulder. Emily would be proud too. Adrian felt tears prick at his eyes for what felt like the 100th time that day. He did not bother trying to hide them. Thanks, he said, for everything, for being here. Where else would I be? They stood in silence for a moment. Then the door opened, and Imani emerged, her face streaked with tears but smiling. She looks so peaceful, she said, like she is just sleeping. Go see her. Adrian walked through the double doors and followed the signs to the recovery room. Lily was lying in a bed that seemed too big for her. There were tubes and wires everywhere, machines beeping and humming. Her eyes were closed, her face pale but peaceful. Adrian sat down in the chair beside her bed. He took her hand gently, careful not to disturb any of the wires. You did it, he whispered. You brave little lion, you did it. She did not respond, of course. She was still deep under anesthesia, but Adrian stayed anyway, holding her hand, watching her breathe. I want to tell you something, he said quietly. I do not know if you can hear me, but I am going to say it anyway. He paused, gathering his thoughts. Before you came into my life, I was lost. I was going through the motions, pretending to be alive, but I was not really living. Your letter changed that. You changed that. You reached through all my defenses and grabbed my heart and refused to let go. He squeezed her hand gently. I do not know what the future holds. I do not know how long we have together. But I know this, whatever time we have, I am going to make it count. I am going to be there for every birthday, every holiday, every nightmare. I am going to read you stories until you are too old to want them, and then I am going to read them anyway. I am going to embarrass you in front of your friends and cry at your graduation and threaten every boy who ever looks at you wrong. He laughed softly at the image. I am going to be your bonus daddy for as long as you will have me, and even after that. Even if you get tired of me, even if you grow up and decide you do not need me anymore, I will still be here, waiting, loving you, always. He leaned down and kissed her forehead. Now wake up soon, okay? Your mama and I are waiting for you. He stayed for a few more minutes just watching her breathe. Then a nurse came and gently told him his time was up. Adrian walked back to the waiting room where Imani and David and Margaret were waiting. They looked at him expectantly. She is perfect, Adrian said. She is perfect and she is going to be fine. Imani started crying again. David smiled. Margaret began typing something on her tablet, probably canceling all of Adrian's appointments for the foreseeable future. Adrian sat down on the beige couch in the beige waiting room and let himself feel something he had not felt in 5 years. Hope. Lily woke up the next day, groggy and confused, but alive. The first thing she said was, "Did it work?" Imani laughed and cried at the same time. "Yes, baby, it worked. You have a new heart." Lily considered this. "Does it feel different?" "I do not know, baby. How does it feel?" Lily was quiet for a moment, her hand pressed to her chest where the new heart beat steadily. "Stronger," she said finally. "It feels stronger." Over the next few days, Lily's recovery progressed faster than anyone expected. The doctors were impressed. The nurses were delighted. Imani stopped looking like she might shatter at any moment. Adrian was there through all of it. He read stories when Lily was awake, sat quietly when she slept, helped Imani navigate the endless paperwork that seemed to accompany every medical procedure. He learned the names of all the nurses, the preferences of the doctors, the best places in the hospital to find decent coffee. On the 5th day after surgery, Lily was moved out of intensive care and into a regular room. It felt like a victory, a sign that things were finally moving in the right direction. That evening, while Imani was home showering and changing clothes, Adrian sat with Lily as she ate her first solid meal since the surgery. "This pudding is not as good as the pudding you brought me that one time," Lily said critically. "But it is not bad." Adrian smiled. "I will bring you better pudding tomorrow. Promise, promise." Lily ate another bite, then set down her spoon. "Adrian, yes, what happens now? What do you mean?" "I mean now that I am getting better, what happens? Do I go back to living with just Mama? Do you still come visit?" Adrian felt his heart clench. He had been thinking about the same thing, though he had not wanted to bring it up while Lily was still recovering. "What do you want to happen?" he asked carefully. Lily thought about it. "I want us to be a family. A real family, not just me and Mama and you visiting sometimes. I want us to live together and eat breakfast together and watch movies on the couch together. I want you to be there when I wake up, not just when you come to visit. Adrian took a deep breath. That is what I want too, really, really. But it is not just up to me, your mother has to want it too, and there are a lot of things we would have to figure out, like what, like where we would live, and how to make sure you and your mother are comfortable, and how to blend our lives together in a way that works for everyone. Lily nodded seriously. Those are good things to think about. They are. But you do want it, Lily pressed. You are not just saying that to make me feel better. I'm not just saying it, Adrian confirmed. I want to be your family, your real family. I have wanted it for a while now. I just was not sure if it was what you and your mother wanted. Lily grinned, the biggest smile he had seen from her in days. I will talk to Mama, she said. I am very persuasive. Adrian laughed. I know you are. The conversation with Imani happened 3 days later. Lily had continued to improve, and the doctors were talking about discharging her soon. The mood in the hospital room was lighter than it had been in months. Lily was sitting up in bed, drawing pictures, while Imani sat in the corner reading a magazine. Adrian arrived with his usual coffee and pastries. He handed Imani her cup and sat down in his usual chair. Lily cleared her throat loudly. Adrian and Imani both looked at her. I think you two should talk, Lily said with exaggerated casualness. About important things. Imani raised an eyebrow. What kind of important things? Lily shrugged. I do not know, just things. Maybe you should go for a walk. The hospital garden is nice this time of day. Adrian tried not to smile. He had a feeling he knew exactly what Lily was doing. Imani seemed to realize it too. She looked at Adrian, then at Lily, then back at Adrian. Fine, she said, standing up. Let us go for a walk. They walked in silence through the hospital corridors and out into the small garden that occupied a courtyard between buildings. It was not much, just some benches and potted plants and a small fountain, but it was quiet. Imani sat down on a bench. Adrian sat beside her. She put you up to this, Imani said. It was not a question. She mentioned that she had some thoughts about the future. Imani laughed softly. She has been talking about it non-stop. Apparently we are all going to live in a big house with a dog and a trampoline. A trampoline? It is very important to her. She has always wanted one. Adrian smiled. I can get a trampoline. Imani was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Adrian, what are we doing? I do not know, Adrian admitted. I know what I want, but I do not want to pressure you into anything. What do you want? Adrian turned to face her. He took her hands in his. I want to be part of your family, he said. Not just a visitor, not just someone who shows up at the hospital with coffee and books. I want to be there when Lily wakes up in the morning. I want to help her with her homework and argue with her about bedtime. I want to build a life with you, both of you. Imani's eyes were bright. We have not even been on a proper date, I know. Adrian squeezed her hands. We can do things in whatever order you want. We can date first, get to know each other outside of hospital rooms. We can take it slow. But I want you to know where I stand. I want you to know that this is not casual for me. You are not casual for me. Imani looked at him for a long time. He could see her thinking, weighing, considering. Marcus was the love of my life, she said finally. He was my first love and my best friend and the father of my child. I thought I would never love anyone else. I understand. But then you showed up. Imani's voice was soft. With your sad eyes and your careful distance and your desperate need to feel something again. And Lily loved you immediately. She saw something in you that I was too cautious to see. What did she see? That you were like us. Broken but still trying, still hoping. Adrian felt tears prick at his eyes. I am broken, he admitted. I am not sure I will ever be whole again. Neither am I. Imani touched his face. But maybe that is okay. Maybe we can be broken together. Is that a yes? Imani smiled, and it was like watching the sun come out. That is a yes to all of it. The house, the trampoline, the dog, the whole ridiculous fairy tale. Adrian leaned in and kissed her. It was soft and gentle and tasted like coffee and salt from the tears neither of them was bothering to hide. When they pulled apart, Imani laughed. Lily is going to be insufferable, she said. She has been planning the wedding for weeks. Wedding? Adrian raised an eyebrow. I have not proposed yet. Yet, Imani smiled. I like that word. They walked back to Lily's room hand in hand. When they pushed open the door, Lily looked up from her drawing with barely concealed excitement. "Well," she demanded, "did you work it out?" "We worked it out," Imani said. Lily squealed. "Are we going to be a family?" "We are going to be a family," Adrian confirmed. "A real family, with a house and a dog and a trampoline, all of it." Lily threw her arms in the air. "I knew it. I knew it would work. I'm the best matchmaker in the whole world." Adrian and Imani exchanged a look. Then they both started laughing. "Yes," Imani said, sitting on the edge of Lily's bed. "You are the best matchmaker in the whole world." Lily beamed. "Can I be the flower girl at the wedding?" Adrian sat down on the other side of the bed. "There is not going to be a wedding for a while. We are going to take things slowly." Lily's face fell. "How slowly?" "Slowly enough to do it right, but fast enough that you will get your trampoline before you are too old to enjoy it." Lily considered this. "Okay, that is acceptable. I am glad you approve." Adrian ruffled her hair gently. "Now, is there anything else you would like to dictate about our lives?" Lily pretended to think. "I want a purple room in the new house, and I want the dog to be named Sir Barks-a-Lot, and I want Sunday to be Pancake Day." Adrian looked at Imani. "Sir Barks-a-Lot?" Imani shrugged. "It is better than her second choice. Princess Woofington III. There was a first and second." "We do not talk about them." Adrian laughed. "Okay, Sir Barks-a-Lot it is." Lily clapped her hands. "This is the best day ever. First I got a new heart, and now I am getting a dad and a dog and a trampoline." Adrian felt his heart swell. A dad, not bonus daddy anymore, just dad. He looked at Imani. She was smiling, tears streaming down her face. "I love you," he said. It was the first time he had said it to her. "Both of you, so much. We love you too," Imani said. "More than all the stars in the sky," Lily added. Adrian gathered them both into his arms, this woman and this child who had somehow become his whole world. They held each other while the afternoon light slanted through the hospital window, while machines beeped and hummed, while somewhere in Lily's chest a new heart beat strong and steady. Outside the room, life continued. Nurses made their rounds. Doctors checked charts. Families gathered to wait and worry and hope. But inside room 417, three people who had each lost everything had somehow found each other. And that, Adrian thought, was the greatest miracle of all.